Hello everyone. Have you ever wanted to learn how to cook like the Hollywood elite? Well, you know what? We have Chef Hollywood with us, and he's going to give us 2 recipes that are going to be scrumptious. Stay tuned for that. You won't want to miss it. Friends and neighbors, I am always so delighted to be back in the kitchen, and I was saying to Chef Hollywood, first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here. I was telling him that, hey, I don't cook much, but when I do, I kind of pick up the phone and make those reservations. But you know that during this time that we find ourselves, it's so hard to do that. And guess what? We can do this, right?
Yeah, we can do this.
And you have an amazing heart for the kitchen and food. Chef Hollywood Culinary Creations,
yes.
Right? And you create these amazing dishes that we can do too. Please tell me we can do it too.
Yes, it's very easy. Anybody can do them.
Awesome. Well, tell us here what we are going to be making.
So today we're going to do 2 different recipes, both around shrimp. So we're going to do some shrimp and grits, which is more of a southern kind of dish, which I'm from Atlanta, so it's my southern roots.
Yeah, I love that.
And then we're going to do a shrimp ceviche, which is my other side of my family, which is from the Caribbean.
Yes.
So a jerk style ceviche here. So
awesome. And being from Peru, I am so excited as well because we have Caribbean influences there too, and I'm really thrilled. And how cool that you're a native Atlantan. I love that. I love that. So let's get started, and then as we do this, I'd love for people to get to know you more. You said you were from Atlanta area, which is a gem. We don't have many.
Not a lot, yeah, that's true.
But God has done amazing things in your life. He has opened up doors through culinary for you to be able to just teach us how to make these wonderful foods. So let me not get in the way here, and you can get started.
All right. We're going to start with our grits. And this is just because the grits are going to take a little bit longer.
Okay.
So you always want to make sure that you get them on. This is because I'm using stone grits.
Okay.
So with stone grits, it means we're actually cooking the grits.
Okay.
And we're not just going to do the quick and fast, easy grits. I'm starting with milk, and then I'm going to use water as well. So I'm using half and half here.
Okay, and how much milk did you put in there?
So about half a cup of milk and half a cup of water to equal 1 cup for 1 serving. I'm making for both of us, so this is 1 cup to 1 cup today.
So I never heard of stone grits. I didn't realize there were different types.
So usually when you have your grits in the grocery store, the ones that you buy the quick grits, and they take about 5 minutes. They already been cooked and then they've been dried again. So we're cooking it this way, and you get the best flavor overall.
Oh, awesome. So you're going to take this time to season it some more.
A little bit of salt and pepper here. Our main seasoning here will be our seafood seasoning. So this is actually going to give us the flavor of the shrimp and grits and the grits as well. Okay. So you don't want just a flavor in the grits. You want it in both the shrimp and in the grits here. So I put about a tablespoon of your seafood seasoning inside of your water mixture.
Okay, well, we've got about 30 seconds before we break for commercial, and you can get the
any seafood seasoning that you like in the store. I make my own jerk seasoning, but for seafood seasoning, you can find it pretty much a lot of places. So anywhere you find your favorite seafood seasoning.
Awesome. So you're going to get that started. You're going to boil that up.
And then we can start in our ceviche while this is boiling.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we will be coming back for the shrimp and grits and then the ceviche. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Friends and Neighbors, and we're in the kitchen with Chef Hollywood, and he is going to show us how to do the most amazing shrimp and grits and ceviche. So, Chef Hollywood, tell us where we are here. Where do we find ourselves in the kitchen?
So right now we're getting ready to do our ceviche. So I have my vegetables. So since this is more Caribbean style, we are going to roast our vegetables a little bit. So a lot of ceviches you'll find, being from Peru, it originated in Peru, but you'll find that you don't really have a lot of roasted vegetables. In the Caribbean, each island has its own kind of flair for things. So my family is from Trinidad.
Oh, nice.
And so it's a little bit of that mixture of Asian and and a little bit of Spanish influence there. So we do the jerk a little bit different. Our jerk season is a little bit less, it's not so spicy as the other jerk from Jamaica. So in this case, we try to keep it kind of mixed between that spicy and sweet. So this is what we're gonna do here. We're gonna roast our vegetables, get them kind of spicy, and we're gonna sweeten it up with some pineapple and mango.
Nice. I love that. I love the influence of our cultures and our heritage and how our food really is a creation of that, right?
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about what made you become a chef, or how did your story begin?
I actually started because my grandmother and my grandfather would always have me in the kitchen. So I always watched my grandfather grill, and I just really enjoyed watching him grill. And my grandmother always made cakes, and I knew that the entire family would always come to the kitchen when they were cooking. So I just wanted to be around my granddad,
and love that.
I just always stayed in the kitchen.
It's the heart of the home, isn't it?
Yeah.
So now you're cutting up the jalapenos. And you're leaving the season?
I'm leaving the season. So this is part of that
it's going to be spicy. I love it. So if you do not like spice,
you can take the seeds and the ribs out.
Okay.
So your seeds and your ribs have about 80% of the heat.
Yeah.
So you can take them out if you don't like the spice so
Okay.
much. And then last but not least, some cherry tomatoes and some of our jerk seasoning. So I make my own jerk seasoning. I actually will be providing it later on in this year. And it's because I couldn't find a lot of jerk seasoning that I liked.
Yep.
So I'm using about a teaspoon and a half in here. And we're going to use another half teaspoon inside of our mixture here.
Wonderful. Now, if people want to get to know you and get to find out some more information about you and this jerk seasoning, how can they do that?
So on my website, chculinarycreations.com. I have all of my information. I have my podcast there, as well as I do personal chef work here in Atlanta and some meal prep kits where I do delivery service.
Yep.
And hopefully I will be having some different services that I will ship later on in this year.
I love that. We were talking about being creative, not only within the kitchen, but also in life right now, right?
Yeah.
How have you found yourself and your business changing up a little bit because of the situation, the circumstances we're in?
I think overall, I've been finding that just because we can't go into people's homes, we've been trying to figure out different ways to still connect.
Yep.
So I even started doing virtual cooking classes now.
Nice, okay.
So if you don't want to leave your home, but you still want to learn how to cook, I can still help you with that as well.
I love that. That's one of the things that this pandemic has done for me personally is I've actually had the time to be able to do some of my own Sandra creations at home.
Yeah.
My family, sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't, but they're still my creations, right? But if I could rely on someone like you to give me the bits of the tray, that would be awesome.
I'm just there as your tutor to help you along the way.
So now, you tell me where cooking has taken you.
It's taken me a lot of places. I had the privilege of working on ships, so cruise ships got me to go to different parts of the world. And I've been fortunate enough to really go to about 57 countries now.
Wow, that's awesome. You were sharing that. So you've gone Australia,
New Zealand area, most of Europe, Asia, and South America too.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you've been able to gather their food, how the
little bits of culture there.
Yes, there. That's awesome. Awesome. And you brought some of Georgia to that.
Brought some Georgia.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now I have my grits inside of my milk and water mixture.
Do you want me to mix that while you're cutting that, or okay?
Yeah. So we're just gonna mix this for about 5 minutes or so until our grits start to thicken up, and then we're gonna add in our butter and our cream cheese.
All right.
So I actually put cream cheese in my grits because it keeps it moist and it keeps them from drying out.
Nice.
And I did it from a small company I used to work for, catering company, and I just kept doing it.
Nice.
So while you're doing that, I'm gonna get my mixture ready for the ceviche. So of course, being from Peru, ceviche is pretty much the idea of cooking your item within the acid.
Yes.
So we're using orange juice and lime juice today.
Okay.
So use about a cup of orange juice or half a cup of lime juice. If you can, always fresh squeeze it.
Yes. Did you? Oh my goodness, so good.
So
how many? If you were to squeeze fresh.
About half a cup of lime juice will be about 6 of these limes.
Okay.
And then a cup of orange juice is about 4 to 5 oranges, depending on the size.
All right.
Yep.
Nice.
So while doing that, we're also going to add the other half teaspoon of our seasoning in here. And I'm going to add some granulated sugar. Now this is because we're not using concentrated orange juice or lime juice, so there's no sugar added. And this kind of helps to calm down the spice of adding the seeds in with our jalapenos and other
Gotcha.
things there.
So healthy too.
Yeah, it's
Say.
just pretty straightforward with it. So I'm just going to give this a quick mix here. And then we're going to get our 2 fruits cut down. And you can go ahead and see
Should I
this,
put-
Mr. We
Yep.
can go ahead and put the butter and the cream cheese in.
Okay.
There you go. I'll cut down our pineapple and mango here.
Okay.
Now with your butter, you're putting in about 1 stick of butter, which will be almost a half a pound of butter,
Okay.
or 1/4 pound of butter, and then half of a full thing of cream cheese. So
Okay.
about 8 ounces of cream cheese. And this is just because we're doing just grits for 2. Yeah.
And that's so good because normally when you're making food, or when I make it, it's like a feast for 100 people, and it's only the 3 of us in our
Yeah.
family. So this is really, so portion really, the size is really important.
Yeah, it's really hard to cook for less people.
Yes,
it's
it
easier to
is.
cook for more people than it is for less.
That's what I meant to say. Hang in there. You know,
Is
my
it?
husband always says, hang in there with her. She'll get to her point in a second. So hang in there, peeps. But now, okay, so how do you, wait. See,
It happened so fast. I didn't
no, it
even-
does. But so you just kind of cut how did you cut
So you turn it into fours first.
Yep.
I just cut it down, and then you have your corners, and I cut my corners down.
Okay.
And I'll just get rid of this.
I know, it feels so like intimidating. Like when I go to the
They're so
grocery
big
store
and-
and get a pineapple, it's intimidating for me to cut.
But
Maybe it's just me.
if you buy your own though, and you just learn how to cut it, you're saving so much money.
That's true.
They charge you
Yes.
for everything they do.
Yes.
So. And then once you get that part cut down, you just want to cut it straight down the middle. Now I have 2 halves of my pineapple. I'm only using 1/2, so I can keep this one over here. I'm just going to cut my half in half. And then we have this center part here, which you already know is a little bit stocky. You don't want to eat that part. If you take your knife and just come straight across at your corners. Now I have all of my pure pineapple.
Nice.
This is edible right here to eat. I'm going to cut this into thirds. And with my cuts, you'll notice that with the vegetables, I kind of did a rough chop as well. This is a very rustic dish, so it's just a homey dish.
Yes.
The idea is that you don't want all of your vegetables and fruit to be the same size. So as you're
Okay.
taking bites, you don't want a big piece of pineapple but a small piece of onion.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Just want to make sure they're
Yeah.
all the same. So I go
Makes
based
sense.
off the size of my shrimp.
Okay.
Or whatever else you're putting inside. So that way, if I know I'm using large shrimp, I can cut everything relatively large, and everything's about the same size here.
Nice.
So last one, and then I'll get down to my mango.
Oh, I love mangoes. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Let's see how the grits are doing before I do
How are they
that.
doing?
Oh, looking good. So you never made shrimp and grits,
I
but
haven't.
you're already making grits, so you're halfway there.
I'm excited. So, okay, so you put the stone grits in there, and tell me again, it was for about 5 minutes?
About
Is that
5
right?
minutes before you add in your butter and your cream cheese, and then we're just gonna turn it on low.
Okay.
This is also good because it's kind of a set and forget. Because we have the butter and the cream cheese
Mm-hmm.
and we have that milk, we have so much fat that we don't have to worry about it burning
Oh, that's
or the
good.
bottom kind of not cooking.
Or drying out or something,
Yeah.
right? Okay. Very nice.
So then with our mango, we're just gonna cut it straight down the side here. You have the seed that's right in the center, so we wanna go around it. And then we have a part here and here at the top and bottom that we can use.
Yes. And I love that, food also can bring back so many wonderful memories. Like I'm thinking here of the mango, and I remember when I was a little girl in Peru, we had mango trees that lined up to
nice.
our house. And my dad, would come home from work and he would see the 3 daughters up on a mango tree. And he's like, dear Lord, these girls are going to fall. But we were trying to grab the ripest mango,
Yeah.
for a snack. But it just brings so much wonderful childhood memories. And I'm sure at your home, too, you've got wonderful memories that food brings.
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather had a farm, so I remember my grandmother always making fig preserves.
Yes, yeah.
you had a fig tree, and then plums, apples, and I never knew how expensive pecans were until I started buying them in the store because we had a pecan tree. So I never knew that they were very expensive.
It's amazing what we are grateful for now, that we don't really, the ease of things beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Was just, and just how important it is to have fresh food.
Yeah.
Yep. I love that.
So we are pretty much almost done with our ceviche. We have our vegetables in the oven. We have our fruit here ready to go. And then the most important thing is making sure that your protein are done. So we're going to go ahead and add in our shrimp now.
Okay.
So I just have large shrimp here. I use my gloves so I can show you. So I took off the shell and the tail here. So I have large shrimp. And then I have about, for 2 people, just about 1/4 pound.
Okay.
So whenever you buy shrimp, no matter the size, they always tell it to you in weight. So
Okay.
you'll see a number and then you'll see the weight. So if it says a higher number, like 90 to 100 count, it just means there's 90 to 100 shrimp in that 1 pound. So if you're ever confused when you're buying it.
Yes. I know. I've always kind of shied away from shellfish because I didn't know how to order, what's the freshest, what's the best. So,
Yeah.
but I don't shy away from eating it and ordering it. But I'm excited that we're over here cooking. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you've roasted.
So roasted off our peppers, jalapenos, red onions, and cherry tomatoes. And then we're just going to use my heating rack here. I like getting my hands dirty, so I'm going to use my other glove now, add everything in and mix it.
Okay.
And then the last ingredient that goes in here will be my cilantro. So I'm going to add the cilantro in right before I put it in the refrigerator. So we're doing this before we finish up our shrimp and grits because we do want this to cool down. Ideally, you want your ceviche, no matter what you're putting inside, to go in the refrigerator for at least about 24 hours, just so it can really get done. Because you have to remember, this is the only heat that we're using is from the acid. So I just want to mix this up, and then I'm going to add my cilantro, and we'll put this in the fridge.
So we've got to plan ahead for that.
Yeah.
And so 24. So what happens if you do it longer? Does it cook more? Does it get bad?
You do want to not have it in there over 3 days or so, because you have to remember, if you're cooking with your acid, you never really stop cooking with the acid.
Right.
So especially if you have shrimp, you don't want it to turn to rubber. So you want to make sure that you are consuming it within 48 hours or so.
Oh, and it's so, it feels like it's so fancy, you know, that you actually are making something that you could mostly order at a restaurant.
Yeah.
So.
Do you like cilantro?
I love cilantro, absolutely.
There are those people who think that cilantro tastes like soap, and I always have to remind them that it's not your fault. It's your parents' fault because it is genetic. So.
Oh, I love it. I love cilantro. I love spices. Just the spicier, the better for me.
Yeah, me too. I really like when it's spiced. So we have our ceviche here, and I'm just gonna put my top on, and we're gonna go in the fridge with this one.
It smells so good.
And we'll finish up our shrimp and grits. All right, so our grits are pretty much done thanks to you stirring over here. I like to keep it on low and keep the lid on, so as the steam comes up, it keeps the moisture inside. Since I'm a little bit closer now, I'm going to turn it up to medium heat just to finish cooking down. And then for our shrimp portion, we're going to add in a couple different ingredients here. So I have some onions, jalapenos, and bacon. If you don't want bacon in this dish, you just want to keep it pescatarian, you can keep the bacon out, but I like the bacon.
Yep.
So
A good Southern boy, of course.
now, if you are cooking with the bacon, you can use the bacon fat for your fat here instead of extra virgin olive oil.
Okay.
But I'd already got rid of our bacon fat this morning,
Got
so
it.
I'm going to use some extra virgin olive oil here. I just flavor mine with garlic and whatever herb I have in my herb garden.
Nice.
So thyme, rosemary, just gives you an extra boost of flavor
Oh,
here.
I didn't realize that they could do that.
And then we want to make sure that our pan is pretty warm before we add in our onions, jalapenos, and bacon. And this is just because we don't want anything to go in when the pan's not warm. So it kind of makes it steam before it cooks off. So we want to get really great flavor and texture here.
Okay, great. So, wow, that's a good tip. I didn't realize that. and red onions. I guess there's different types of onions you could use. Does it matter?
I like red onions personally because I'm with you. I
Yeah.
like a little more spice. Red onions to me have a little bit more of a bite, so I like them the most. And then, of course, with my jalapenos, I did take out the seeds this time.
Okay.
We're gonna have jalapenos in there, so this is a different dish, but still have that
Smells so
spice.
good, Chef Hollywood. Oh my goodness. Well, we've got about 2 more minutes here, which gives us plenty of time to continue to do, because basically you're sauteing, right?
Yep,
Is that
just
what you're doing?
sauteing
Sauteing. Now, tell us quickly while you're sauteing, how did you get this name, Chef Hollywood? You didn't work in Hollywood,
No.
did you? Or
My first name is Mandricchio, and all throughout high school, I went by Mandricchio.
Yeah.
And when I went to culinary school, I also went by Mandricchio.
Yeah.
But I never write my last name because
I love it.
I don't know another Mandricchio. So
hey.
my teacher started calling me Hollywood,
I love
and it stuck. And now, ever since I graduated culinary school, I've gone by Hollywood and made it my entire business.
I love it. Mondricchio. I was like, okay, Hollywood. I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, this absolutely smells divine.
Awesome.
It really does. And I mean, I don't know. I wish you all could smell this. It's the fragrance, the ingredients all just dancing together. It's just going to be so flavorful and an experience to eat. So I can't wait to take a little bite of that. So now, how long do you saute it for?
So you only saute your shrimp for about 2 minutes until your shrimp turn pink, and then you'll know that they're done completely. We're gonna deglaze the pan with a little bit of stock, or you can use whatever liquid you would like, and then we'll make the sauce finish with butter.
Awesome.
And then we'll plate it all up.
Okay, well listen, oh my goodness, we're gonna take a break, but come back and you'll see the finished product. We are having an absolute divine time here in the kitchen. Can't wait to see you come back and look at the final presentation. Welcome back. I so wish you could be right here and smell the wonderful food that Chef Hollywood just made for us. That was like in a jiffy.
It's very fast, 2 recipes.
Wow, and it's beautiful. So tell us where we find ourselves.
So we finished with the shrimp going in. So I just added in a little bit of liquid, so you can use wine or stock to deglaze the pan, and then I finished it with some butter.
Okay.
So I popped the butter in the freezer for just a second, so it's really cold, and then it came up to give me a really nice sauce here for my shrimp and grits.
Goodness.
And then also, while we were doing that, I got the ceviche done, so I had another one I made right before we started. So you can see your shrimp now are already cooked and everything's put together.
I mean, that is absolutely beautiful. So let's come back here for a second, just so then I'll remember this. Tell me about the butter, because every time I melt the butter, it looks like a hot mess.
So if you're finishing a sauce with butter, you want to make sure it melts slowly. So the hot mess comes from when it melts really fast. So if you think about butter in the microwave, when it kind of separates, if you add it in and it gets too hot, that's exactly what happens.
That is.
So you want to make sure you don't have that happen. Just keep it cold. And that way when you're adding it in at the end, it will slowly melt down. It thickens your sauce up.
And it gives that buttery texture too.
Yeah.
So you can use that to deglaze, or you can use any liquid as
So
well.
you use the
or is that
liquid to
in
deglaze,
addition?
and that's an addition.
Okay. So then, now does this keep?
So shrimp and grits keep for a while. I actually do this as part of a meal prep kit that I do as well. So you can keep this for up to 5 days, no problem. And that's because we use the butter and the cream cheese and the grits. And then your shrimp, if you want to keep it longer, you just want to take the shrimp out before it's completely done. So that when you warm it up, your shrimp are cooking and finishing cooking in that process.
Awesome. Now, I know you've got your podcast that you've been working on, which is really awesome. This is going to be up on your Facebook page?
On Facebook page, my website. I actually do my podcast, Cooking Your Way Through Life. I do both of these recipes this season, so you'll be able to hear it again from here and from there, and you can see the recipes on my website.
That's going to be awesome. Now, so tell me the other things that you have been doing with events. I mean, people can actually...
Yeah, with this time period right now, I'm a personal chef, so I'm always in your home. But right now, we're not in each other's homes a lot. So I've been also doing drop-offs. So if you want to do a dinner party or even just a couple's dinner, I can do a complete drop-off for you the same way you order food from somewhere else, except you're getting a really destined kind of, you're getting a really great kind of meal from me that's personalized to what you
Yes.
want.
I
So you
love
don't have to
that.
order off a set menu.
I love that. That's really great. You can make it personalized to whatever you're wanting to eat that day or
Yeah.
that special event. So now going further into the ceviche, tell us how that all came together.
So ceviche comes together honestly just in the refrigerator. So everything we put in, you're just letting that all marinate together. So all those great flavors start to kind of bond together, and you get the best flavor overall.
Oh my goodness. And now it's got the liquid. Now how much liquid consistency does it matter or just what you like?
It's your preference.
Okay.
So I always tell people just start with a little bit of liquid. You
Yep.
don't want it to be swimming,
Right.
but it is very delicious because you get all those great flavors from your seasoning. So you get the great flavors from the shrimp itself. You can also do any kind of seafood in this. So this is for scallops, lobster, shrimp, crab. And
That's
it's
really
great for all
cool.
of them.
That's really awesome. Well, I am so delighted to meet you. God's
you.
favor and blessing on you and this food as well. And I am grateful that you guys were able to enjoy this. And you will want to check Chef Hollywood's social media pages and website for all this information. So thank you for joining us. We pray that today finds you well and that you savor all the food that you have as well.